Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Thank you for having me. Sean asked me to come talk about creativity. You have 5 minutes. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And I decided to use my 5 minutes not to talk about creativity, but to defend myself from being not insane or irresponsible. So if that sounds too self-serving, then you can listen and I will teach you how you can be insane and irresponsible too. This is me using ABB's largest industrial robot to assemble a 2,000-pound metal ball sculpture in our workshop that's in Southeast Portland, very close to here. We do a lot of stuff like this, so it does make sense that people would think that we were crazy. In fact, I was showing photographer Brian, this slide earlier, and he's like, "Did you seriously roboticize a chainsaw?" Yes, we did. It turns out that robots are really good at wielding chainsaws, and we set this up in a couple of days. That's Nathan. He's the most capable human being in the universe. He was the one that pulled the ripcord and put the spring clamp onto the throttle while it ran full out while we ran the robot program. This is the example of the kind of stuff that we do. We also do things like buy $75,000 robot dogs for reasons. And in this case, a few months after that, we got a call from Katy Perry's people. Katy really wants to have the robot dog in her music video in LA. It shoots in 10 days. Do you want to help? Yes, we want to help Katy Perry. So we do a lot of really crazy sounding things, crazy seeming things, but I'm going to explain why it's not actually that crazy. When you look at our team, you can see there's a lot of very handsome, very wonderful, incredibly intelligent, and very highly paid people in this photo. So how are we doing all this crazy and irresponsible work? And I'm gonna give you the secret now. It's not because we can see the future. It's not true. It's not true at all. It's not because we're really lucky. Although we are lucky, we are also unlucky. So I think they cancel each other out. And we're also not insane, like it actually makes sense. So here's the way to do it. All of these 3 rules are extremely important to use together, so you can't skip any one of them. And I'm gonna go top to bottom. You can read it, it'll just take a second. I will explain them to you with the next few minutes that I have. So the first thing is that we always set aside time and money to play. When we talk about play, there isn't an attachment to what the outcome is going to be. Like, if we lose it, if we spend it, whatever. Like, we can continue to be a company, right? It's stuff that we put at risk, and if we lose it, it's no big deal. Well, it might be a big deal, but at least it's not going to kill us. We can keep doing what we're doing. So we set that aside, and then what we do when we think about what we're going to work on is we're placing asymmetric bets. So what that means is there's an imbalance between what we're spending and what the outcome could be in a way that's significantly different. So a $75,000 robot dog is really expensive in one way of looking at it. We're just lighting that money on fire, let's say, if you want to think about it that way. But when you think about what could happen if our company had a robot dog, and you start to think expansively about what could happen, you can think about, well, maybe engineers will think our company was cool and they'll come work for us. What do we pay our recruiters, right? Like, what are we paying to get people into our company? Well, you start to add those up. You start to think about big teams of people. This is really practical. This is right in front of us. But you also think, well, maybe we could do millions in new business and consulting around making robot dogs do interesting things. Like, no one knows what to do with those. And then there's unexpected things, like Katy Perry calls you and is like, come be in my music video. So when you think expansively about the opportunities, $75,000 doesn't seem like a lot of money. And besides that, you can also be wrong very frequently. If the upsides are really high, you only have to be wrong. You only have to be right like 1 out of 10 times, 1 out of 20 times for one of those things to hit, and everything else can fail and go to 0, and you're still good. And when you do that, you can bet again and again and again and again and again, and keep doing that all the time. And so this is kind of like the money chart of Loupe, and people look at sort of the rocket ship section, but I want to point out the other sections, which are, in the beginning, things are going great. And then we hit this rocky patch, and for 5 years, we were placing lots of bets that didn't hit at all. They completely failed. What I like about this chart is that we continued to be a company for those 5 years. And we didn't die. We were just like, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. And then in a couple cases in 2017, also coincident with hiring Kinesis, thank you Kinesis, you can see that some of those things started to hit. Actually, a few of them started to hit, and the company just took off like crazy. So what I would encourage you all to do is be irresponsible and don't die and keep doing it. And then hopefully something like this will happen to you too. Thanks a lot.